Hear my vows!
Okay, last time we saw this gentleman, he was angry. He's still angry. Last time we saw this gentleman, he was happy. The smile's still on his face. Thomas, how's Gamescom for you?
Busy, happy. The feedback is really good. I mean, it's crazy. You know that not really a lot of people can defeat the boss that we have in a build today, but 100% is standing up from the stands happy. It's like there's no frustration. I'm a very happy man because of that.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, we were quite extensive during our E3 conversation about what the game was about, the dynamic of it, the story and everything. So let's talk Gamescom build. What are you showing here today?
The most important thing that is new and the players and guys will find new about the Gamescom build that we have prepared today is that this is the first time ever that we're showing how it looks, how we've designed and how it feels to enter the demonic realm in a game. Because there's a human realm, there's a demonic realm, and it's important players journey-wise for us to give player perspective on both worlds, because it's going to be very, very important for a very valid and important decisions later on in the game that you have a perspective on who humans are, what are their goals, who demons are, what are their goals, why there is a war between worlds, realms, and species, sort of to say, and this is the abandoned temple and the world around it, and then demonic realm that we're showing is actually chance for the players to see how it feels and look to be in a demonic realm and what it means for the storyline of the game.
So how have you approached that with the demonic realm? What's the general design? What's the look? What's the feel? What's the ambience of it?
The general approach towards the temple itself and the world that has been in any given way changed or modified or designed by demons, and there is a demonic realm, is that this old and ancient temple was technically built by humans, but a very, very long time ago, in the ancient times, and was overtaken by demons also quite long ago. And since then, demons have been living there, they've inhabited there, and they have changed it quite severely. So what you are seeing is a very, very monumental and epic kind of architecture that technically might have been built by very, very ancient humans long ago, but then they're very, very supernatural and very weird and crazy constructions and also magical elements in it. That means that you're not really in a human realm anymore. This is a lot changed, and I think because of that it really fits nicely to the whole fantasy setting, and the way that we've designed it feels like, yeah, this is something that feels like properly amazing in an epic way. That's what we're after. I hope it comes through.
Well, how do you switch between the realms? Is there specific points during the game? Well, I mean, how does that transfer happen?
The most important thing that makes you traverse dimensions is the progress of the storyline. So, for example, the first time that you ever enter the bridge between dimensions, the abandoned temple, is you progressing the main quest towards a certain point that actually requires you to go there. But then you can go back and forth anytime. Re-exploration is always encouraged and recommended in the game. Some of the areas will open up to you once you have re-entered and revisited both temple and the human realm, the Keystone Monastery that we call it, and that is gonna be something that I think a lot of players will find worthwhile to try to see what changes in the world. For example, it changes exploration-wise. A lot of things changes when you get back to the place that you've been before, but also I think storyline-wise, it gives you a new perspective. But when you start a game, when you're in a human monastery, when you start, I think you've played that one, and when you're there, it's pretty much a whole world for you, game-wise, at the beginning of the game. Then you see the demonic realm. You see something that is very, very different. And when you get back to the monastery, it really doesn't feel the same anymore. And this is something that we were after as well.
Is it a case of the demonic and the human realm layer on top of each other? So you go to the demonic realm and it's almost like an overlay of the human realm twisted, or is it like a whole separate area?
It's a totally different world. What we try to do is, despite the fact that there are cracks in dimension, this is a very, very high-level thing for guys who are not into fantasy world, but there are sort of cracks and crosses between dimensions in a world. Whenever you enter a different dimension, it actually means that a place is a different one. It's a totally different world. Everything is built in a different way, and it feels like something that is out of this world. So we're not reusing the ideas of architecture, of the whatever, of the... There are three major worlds in Lords of the Fallen, and each one of them has been designed from scratch and from a totally different set of assets.
Now, said about the boss there, about no one's really managed to get through this.
Couple people dead.
Okay, but it's a badge of honor, right? So tell us about the boss. I mean, you're mentioning just before we came on here about goblets, stuff like that. What's the deal with this?
The boss that we're showcasing today is called Guardian for two reasons. One of them is he's guarding an entrance to a place that is very important one in a very, very late stage of the game. You actually have to defeat him to get there. That's one thing. So he's technically the guardian of the passage. But also, the arena that you're fighting the boss at is called Eternal Flame, or a Holy Flame, however you want to call it. And he's also guarding the fire that's there. It's his element, and this element and the element of fire and managing a lot around it is the main gameplay thing about fighting the Guardian, because there are fire goblets bases around the arena, and you can actually interact in many different ways with them. You can try to put him out, and he will try to reignite them. That means that you can try to attack him in the meantime, because it takes a lot of time. Also, there are attacks that, apart from the boss himself trying to hurt you with his dual swords, there are also attacks that he tries to magically shoot out from the goblets, and when you put him out, less goblets attack you. So there's a lot of management in this fight. A lot basis on the fire elements, and a lot basis on dynamics and changing the fight. Also, his defense is lower when you put the goblets out. It linearly scales with that. So that pretty much means that that he is relying, dependent, and addicted to fire. Without it, he's not much of a threat. It's really interesting fight.
Okay, now, people went hands-on with the game at E3. I'm just interested to know, what was the most surprising piece of feedback you got from talking to people after they played the game?
It's really interesting. The most important thing for me, it wasn't, the most important thing for me was that regardless of the fact whether people finally made it to defeat the boss that was ending, that was wrapping up the demo or not, all of them said that the game actually is fun. And it doesn't matter whether they did it this time, because they had like 40 minutes to play this part of the game, and this part of the game is designed for like at least an hour, and that's why it's natural that not all of them defeated the boss, but all of them said it doesn't matter. Because I grasped the general idea, and it's fun. It was a huge relief for me as a developer, because we really put a lot of work into designing the game that way. If it's working out, yes, great. And the other thing is, of course, a lot of people are praising the looks of Lords of the Fallen, and it's true that things that we have, the physical particles, the cloth simulations, a lot of the very nice and intense lighting effects, it would not be possible on a previous generation of hardware. So that is also a great step forward for very challenging. It might as well be that Lords of the Fallen is going to be the first really challenging game on the new generation of hardware. And I'm also waiting for Bloodborne as well, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So basically, you're happy enough. You see that as competition at all?
I don't look at it this way. I technically mean, the way that I personally look at that is I think we're on the same team. FromSoft or Sony, and then us at CA Games working on Lords of the Fallen. I would love these both games to be perceived as the games that are after a similar thing. It's just it's just a different approach toward the challenge and towards a very addictive feeling of being able to overcome it. And then what we wanted to do, and the way that we've designed Lords of Fallen in the mind was, I have played a lot of challenging games in my life, and I know how much endorphins are being released in your body when you overcome a challenge that at first you thought is like that high. After a couple hours, you're done. And the way that it feels, I just felt that like it's the most important thing for me personally to try to imbue in a game.
Okay, now, you're here for one more day, and then you're actually leaving, obviously, back to the office. So what's the immediate future for you? What are you guys concentrating at the moment?
We're on the verge of being beta. we're on the verge of starting the whole process of submission. Lord's going to be out September 31st, so it's October. That's October 31st, and because of that, we're working really hard, and we're fully switching right now from what we call a feature-driven development into a bug-driven development, because it's more of a polishing stage right now. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing.
Dude, it's always a pleasure seeing you. Best luck with the rest of the project.
Thank you very much.